Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're looking at, well, a free LC reveal. We've got more free LC to be, revealed later. Of course, you'll know that there's a dwarf campaign starting this afternoon, so that's good. Maybe you've watched that already, I don't know. But also, we've got some details on the Ogre Mercenaries that are being added, which I think is really cool. I think that's pretty sick, because it's Ogre Mercenaries, and that's sort of a big deal, because we haven't had any ogres in the game before. And, of course, Ogre Kingdoms are on the, almost guaranteed list of new factions we'll be getting in Warhammer 3. Whether it be a pre-order bonus, maybe, or as the first faction, as the first, race pack, for Warhammer 3, it shows they're putting in some of the groundwork, which I think is very, very cool to see. So, let's read about the ogres, shall we, before we get too excited by all the speculation and, whatever else you'd call my rambling. Great, I'm glad we could agree. So, Ogre Mercenaries, answer the call to slaughter in Total War Warhammer 2. So, Ben Barrett, again, Old Ben's been busy. I don't know if his name's Old Ben. Do you think they mean Old Ben Kenobi? Or maybe it's the one that makes rice? I don't know. Or Uncle Ben. Oh god, I hope it's not Uncle Ben. I've seen that movie, I know what happens to him. Oh yeah, the blog post, I remember. So, hungry? We've got a delicious helping of news for you today. The Silence and the Fury DLC and associated patch will bring a host of free and paid content, in addition to the Beastman and Dwarf reworks. You will see the Dwarf rework later, so remember to tune in for that. 2 new Legendary Lords and new units for the Lisbon. So this is all covered in the previous blog post that we've already looked at least. Most of that is. Some things are as yet to be announced. So, the Ogres are coming to Total War Warhammer for the very first time in the Ogre Mercenaries pack, available for free as part of Total War Access. You're signed up, of course, so Total War Access, Google it. If you haven't found it, you'll find it. It'll be the top link. There's a bunch of stuff in there that you're probably missing for Total War and Total War Warhammer 2. Total War Warhammer and Warhammer 2 already. There's a bunch of free stuff. So go check it out if you don't know about it already, but you probably do. Because you're smart like that, aren't you? Good. So, it adds a new mechanic, accessible by all factions. Hireable ogre units that will fight for your cause so long as you keep them fed, watered, paid, and in combat. Fair enough. So how does that actually work in game terms? Ogre camps have a chance to spawn whenever an act of destruction takes place. Battles, sieges, the razing and sacking of settlements, anything where there might be plunder to be had and meat to be served. Ogres will move into the area and create a camp, which you can then interact with via an army. Here you can choose which tribe to work and pay, giving units to the local mercenary recruitment pool. From there, you simply have to actually recruit the units into the army you wish to have them in, and then keep them paid. The ogre camp will disperse, though more can always spawn later. If you run out of money to pay your ogres, who are not cheap, then they will depart without a moment's hesitation. In custom battles, every ogre unit is available to every faction as part of the campaign exclusive pool. This means they aren't available in quick battles or custom games with unit caps enabled, but otherwise you're free to bring them to the table whenever you wish. So this is a big deal because having something that's, quite powerful and has an interesting niche, that would just immediately kill a bunch of the asymmetry in multiplayer. So it's great that they're not available in just general games, because that would suck. That would suck so badly. I know I don't really play multiplayer anymore, but this would have really upset me if they'd been added. But they haven't, so don't worry. It's all good. It's all good. The sanctity of multiplayer has been maintained. So, which lumbering masses of flesh and slavering jaws are available? 5 units are available in all. 5! Which is amazing. I feel I think for reinforcements, a lot of people were speculating, oh, is it the Dogs of War? Are they adding Dogs of War? And in a way, kind of. I think they looked at Dogs of War, went, oh yeah, hireable mercenary and stuff would be quite cool, wouldn't it? But it's a lot though, isn't it? That's a hell of a lot to add. So, it's free stuff, we just want to give them something, right? Well, how about we just add the ogres? And they went, brilliant, and then they made 5 different units of ogres. By accident. It's wonderful. I think it's really good. Nice to have some variety. So, first off, we have ogres. What sort of ogres? Just ogres. Just plain vanilla, I guess. Vanilla-flavoured ogres. Big, brutish, and extremely violent. Ogres are simple and straightforward creatures. They know what they want and use their brawn to take it. Ogres don't do contemplative head-scratching, preferring to smash things they don't understand. The bull charge forwards is their favoured way to crush any opposition and greedily grab what they like. And what ogres want is power, respect, wealth, and most of all, an endless supply of meat to feast upon. They're hungry boys, the ogres. Given the chance, an ogre will barge into combat using his great lumbering mass as a weapon. They excel at fighting, and this, along with their greed and lack of concern about right or wrong, means that an ogre mercenary is always ready for battle against anyone, anywhere. History is replete with examples of ogres being paid to fight, and even sometimes being paid not to join a fray. When they do enter combat, ogres make frightening opponents, for they are savage and can sometimes devour the fallen where they lie. In the heat of battle, this horrifies their opponents, who must fight the blood-splattered vanquisher of their former comrades. Pretty grim. Pretty grim. Ogres are pretty grim. And yeah, very often hired by the Empire to help out, and some of them do live in the Empire, just they've like retired in the city to work as butchers and things. I know there's ogre butchers are the spellcasters, but there are just like actual just butchers, because they're pretty good at just chopping a pig in half or whatever. They can do all the hard work very easily at the size they are, so they tend to do quite well, and constant supply of meat coming in. It's kind of win-win. But anyway, so variants. There's some variants to ogres. You've got mace or dual weapons. Notable characteristics: adds a monstrous infantry option to factions that might not normally have access to it. Has a standard monstrous infantry entity count, as well as causing fear and being able to operate as a siege attacker. So the idea of basically having a pool of sort of mercenaries that you can recruit when you need them. Basically just going, oh, I need to lay siege to that place, but I don't have any artillery or anything. Oh, brilliant. I'll bring an ogre, and that'll be my battering ram, so I can attack this turn. I think that's a really cool thing. It's a good tactical opportunity for people, which I think is really fun. And that's so typical of how the Warhammer world would work. It's like, oh, we need a tool. Well, we'll hire one. We'll hire a tool to do the thing that we need, which I think is really cool. I think it's really fun. So, dual weapon variants get the bonus versus infantry stat for some truly murderous rampages. And of course, just the mace ones are the standard ones. Then we've got the Ogre Man-Eaters. Man-Eaters are the the mercenaries that have been, mercenaries for a while. They get called Man-Eaters. They're not just normal ogres, they're professionals, if you can call them that. So, Ogre Man-Eaters are veterans of many campaigns fought in far-off lands, travelling mercenaries beyond peer. They have spent decades accruing scars, tool tales, wealtham, and exotic... it's a typo, but wealtham, and exotic war gear. They put it better than I did, so now I'm upset. Should have written my own blog. Man-Eaters have fought throughout the old world and beyond, and many races attempt to recruit such fighters into their armies, promising food, gold, or whatever else the ogres want in return for their services. It is the pay that matters, not the foe, although with some contracts, Man-Eaters are awarded fallen enemies to eat, so in those cases the enemy may matter. Ogres eat anything, but they have preferences. So grim. It's just so grim. Imagine if Ogre Mercenaries turned up, just open to being hired by either side in a battle, two forces ready to fight. Ogres just waltz up and say, alright, what are you going to pay me? They'd say, the other one. And they went, alright, well, that army looks more delicious. I'll work for the other guy. It's messed up. Anyway, Man-Eaters tend to operate in small groups, some of which have fought together for years. Despite their outlandish appearance, these tight-knit bands excel at breaking heads. It's rare for any two Man-Eaters to fight or be equipped in exactly the same manner, and opponents find themselves facing a dizzying array of different weapons and combat techniques. The only real factors uniting the individualistic Man-Eaters are a monumentally inflated sense of self-worth and the capacity to smash aside lesser creatures without breaking a sweat. Variants, we've got Ogre Pistols. It's Ogre Pistols, not pistols. Ogre Pistols. Basically cannons. They're very big. And great weapons. So you've got your sort of ranged hybrid units, and then you've got your anti-large variant there with the great weapons. If they're following the Minotaurs, thing of they're all armor piercing because they're all the size of trucks, but the great weapons are the armor piercing variant, to differentiate them. Not the armor piercing, the anti-large variant. So, notable characteristics: a hybrid monstrous unit for some real flexibility on the battlefield, both variants being immune to psychology, because they've been through this before. The pistol variant is equally deadly in melee combat, but can weaken the enemy prior to contact. Can even fire while moving, which is pretty damn cool. Also, the great weapon variant bestows the usual bonuses on charges and versus large units, of course. Mournfang Cavalry. So this is a really big deal. Because imagine playing a dwarf campaign and bumping into some Ogre Mercenaries. You could have cavalry in your dwarf campaign. Right? So really fun. Gives you just a huge amount of variety in your armies, having these ogres about. So anyway, powered by thick haunches of purest muscle, a Mournfang surges towards the foe at a speed faster than their muscle-bulked frames would suggest. Not slowed in the least by the large ogre, or saddle atop its hairy back, protected by thick skin and coarse shaggy hair. Enemy arrows bounce off the incoming beast, or ping off the ogre's armour, as harmless as hailstones. When they do smash into an enemy, the powerful Mournfangs chomp, slash and stamp the foe, whilst the ogres lay about them, swinging ponderous clubs to bludgeon them. There is a fortune to be made as a mercenary for a young ogre with his own Mournfang, and every spring a few stout lads from the upper slopes will join together and sell their services as some of the heaviest shock cavalry in the known world. Although whole units of Mournfang cavalry can usually secure the victory of any battle they are engaged in, these brutes and their gigantic steeds do not come cheap. The tyrants or paymasters of the victorious side often note a profound feeling of loss when the spoils of war are shared out. Not surprising. Notable characteristics: monstrous cavalry in every sense of the word. Man-eating beasts riding man-eating beasts. Ah, lovely. Provides a monstrous cavalry option for factions that lack it, with all the power that implies. A truly powerful, armor-piercing, top-tier unit. So that's very fun. And more to come. Get it? More? Because of the Moor, they worship, their god is the Great Moor. They worship a big mouth. It is a warpstone coin, it's a creative. They went, that looks like a mouth, and they believed it was a mouth, and it turned into a mouth. Because that's how chaos works. Chaos is silly like that. It's very suggestible. Wow, I'm not sure anyone has actually implied that chaos is suggestible before, but actually that's not a bad way to describe it, is it? You know, if worship tends to create form out of, chaos, then yeah, it's quite suggestible. So chaos is suggestible. They went, that looks like a mouth, so it is a mouth now. So anyway, can truly any force stand against the gluttonous might of the ogres? We certainly can't, and as part of the Silence and the Fury update on July 14th, you can find out how your enemies, friends, I say your ogres, your enemies, friends, yourself holds up. Naturally, the AI is just as capable of fielding these units as you are, so you can have more variety against what you're up against as well, which I think is really good. And what better possible way is there to bid farewell to the new world in Warhammer 2 than with brutal warriors adventuring far from their home in the northeastern reaches, far beyond the lands of the Empire in Kislev, near the mysterious lands of Cathay. This taster, a mere morsel of what might lie in their kingdom, is available through Total War Access along with a host of other content for Warhammer 2. Yes, the Ogre Mercenaries are our final major addition to Warhammer 2, alongside all the other content in the Silence and the Fury, and bug fixes and balance patches notwithstanding. Feast with them, drink with them, pay with them, and maybe they will spin you a tale, one of the mysterious east, of new realms of conquest, of demon armies clashing, headed by terrible creatures, of the Moor and its insatiable hunger, and the legends that tell of a way to finally sate it. Here's to the future. So that sounds a lot like Ogre Mercenaries. Ogre Kingdoms are going to be a thing. Possibly as a pre-order bonus. It sounds too much like, here's some ogres, but hey, ogres happening. You know, it feels very implicit. But it could just be basically saying, oh, we're bringing something in from what would be essentially another part of the game. On Warhammer 3, like obviously the Mountains of Mourn. I say obviously, maybe you don't know. The Mountains of Mourn, where all the Ogre Kingdoms are, where their various kingdoms are in the big range of mountains, is between the current Total War Warhammer 2 map and Cathay, which is one of the confirmed factions to be coming with Warhammer 3. So if they can do a combined map, then that means that the Ogre Kingdoms are going to be in it, so they've got to be added at some point. Also, they have an 8th edition book, and they're adding all the 8th edition races. It really is just a matter of when we're getting them, but this does feel a lot like a teaser for, a potential pre-order bonus or something. Or Could just be the first big faction pack, and they're trying to butter us up for that already. Who knows? Who knows? But there's a lot to speculate about, and a lot to be excited about. These things are awesome. These things are really, really cool. So if you want to see them in action, then yeah, be sure to follow my channel, because there'll be plenty of coverage of the Silence and the Fury ahead of its release. So, like I said, this afternoon we're kicking off a legendary Dwarf Lord. It's another legendary Lord. It's a free LC Dwarf Lord. I still can't say it. What it is. I still can't say what it is. So anyway, a new character that you'll see, you know, new to Total War Warhammer 2 at least. And we'll be playing that, and the Ogres are going to show up in that campaign at some point, I'm sure. So, yeah, that's that then. I hope you're enjoying all the coverage, and I hope you continue to do so. So comment, like, subscribe. If you're looking to pre-order the Silence and the Fury, then nexus.gg/Janet. It really helps the channel out, and yeah, you don't have to spend any extra. It should be the same cost as it is on Steam, though I can't check every locale, so I don't know. You might be in a part of the world where that's not the case, but it should be the same price, and I get a kickback from it. So it's a nice way to support the channel when you're going to buy something anyway, you know? Should be good. And yes, at some point I will stop telling people about it, but, you know, while people haven't bought the thing yet, it seems the best time to say it. But I do feel a bit cheeky mentioning it all the time, but I've got to pay the bills. So anyway, comment, like, subscribe, see you in the next one, take care, enjoy the premiere later. See you later, guys.